So my name is Ingrid Morales. I'm the Community Programs Manager here at RE-volv. Thank you for joining us for the Solar Ambassador Program Informational Webinar. I am just so excited about this program and the potential that it has to really enrich and enhance your students' experience and interest in clean energy careers, as well as sustainable careers or sustainability careers, and anything related to climate change and grassroots organizing in your local communities and neighborhoods. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. And we're going to start off with a couple of words and remarks from our executive director and my boss and friend, Andreas Corellis, who's going to give us an overview of RE-volv, as well as the initial start of this program and where it is today and where it hopes to go in this next iteration of the program. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Andreas.
Thanks, Ingrid. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. Thrilled to see so many folks interested in the Solar Ambassador Fellowship Program, which we're excited to dive in today. We also are excited to have, um, uh, we're going to hear from current fellows and hear about impact of the program over time. So thanks so much for taking the time. Next slide. So RE-volv, for those of you that aren't familiar, is a clean energy access nonprofit. And what we do is help fellow nonprofits in underinvested communities across the country go solar. And in the process, we raise awareness about equitable clean energy solutions and train the next generation of clean energy leaders. And that's what we do through our Solar Ambassador Fellowship Program. So to date, RE-volv as a whole has helped over 100 nonprofits across the country go solar. That's in 18 states. And we've helped avoid over close to 120,000 metric tons of carbon from being emitted into the atmosphere through these programs. And we've helped these organizations save over $35 million on their electricity bills, which they can put back into their community. So there's three pillars to the RE-volv model, sort of our theory of change, and what we call invest, engage, and empower. And so invest is the solar financing and project development work. So what we do is we work with nonprofits that are interested in going solar, and we walk them through that whole process from start to finish, from identifying their electricity bill needs, looking at local solar installers to help them select an organization to help them go solar, and then putting together a financing product for them that allows them to go solar and save money over time. Our community engagement program, what we think of as Engage, is where we are working with each nonprofit to engage the community. And this can be through ribbon cutting events. This can be through solar education events like the ones our solar ambassadors are going to be hosting. And we make videos of each project and we get the story in the news. And many of these projects are actually featured on the evening news, television crews or written about in local papers because of the exciting work and because of the nonprofit's compelling mission and how solar is helping them do more of that. And then our Empower pillar is about our solar ambassadors. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. And, as I think, the folks on this call are well aware, there is a massive opportunity. Right now, clean energy jobs, solar energy jobs in particular in the United States, there's over 300,000 people employed in the solar industry. It grows at 14 times the national average. It's one of the fastest growing job sectors in the economy. And in those opportunities for jobs is a strong need for folks learning important aspects of the solar industry that include customer service, putting together proposals, uh, sales, community engagement, policy, financing. So these are the things that the program focuses on. And we're going to hear from Ingrid to walk through a little bit more about what the details of the program are and how we can prepare our college students to go through this fellowship and learn those necessary skills to be able to put into their resume that they can then follow on after graduation and continue careers in the industry. Next slide. So we started this program over a decade ago. We have had over 400 students go through the fellowship and successfully complete the requirements. And they come from over 30 universities across the country. One of the things that we're most proud of is of the students who we are still in touch with, who we've surveyed since they've left the program. Over 77% of them are working in sustainability or clean energy. So, and many of these are at top companies. I mean, I can't tell you how often I run into solar ambassadors, that are Revolve interacts with on a regular basis at their companies. So it's a great joy to see so many people are getting their start in college, working in clean energy, and then continuing that afterwards. And of course, our partnerships, Revolve partners with other groups that are offering fellowship opportunities and internship opportunities and career growth opportunities, programs like Grid Alternatives, Clean Energy Leadership Institute, CELI, ACES, American Solar Energy Society, and others that have opportunities as well. So we're trying to really give our fellows as much opportunity as possible to grow and learn, so that they can have that open door to them as they start their career. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we've had students from all over the country. Many universities have been in the program for many years. So we're going to hear today from Ariza, who is a former Solar Ambassador Fellow from Swarthmore University. Swarthmore College. And Swarthmore was actually one of the original schools in the program and has been in the program every year. And as well as University of Dayton in Dayton, Ohio, has been in the program. Both of those teams, Swarthmore and University of Dayton, have had multiple projects be successful in their communities. And as well, we've had a number of other schools, Coastal Carolina, Princeton, Berkeley, Georgia Tech in Atlanta, many others that continue to demonstrate the success of the program. Next. And with that, I will pass it over to Ariza. Thank you for joining us and for being a stellar Solar Ambassador Fellow. And thanks so much for joining us to share more about the great work you and your team have done at Swarthmore.
Thank you all so much. I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Ariza Nanji, and I've been a solar ambassador since 2022. And working with Revolve has really changed a lot of the trajectory of how I'm seeing my life go on. I graduated from Swarthmore College actually in 2024, and got to work continuing doing solar work and research for the last year, and now heading to the University of Michigan to really continue this work within the solar energy path and field. We'll be getting my Master's of Science in Environment and Sustainability and focusing on environmental justice. But I wouldn't have really saw that for myself without the Revolve Fellowship. Through Revolve, when I joined Revolve, it was around the time when the Inflation Reduction Act was being broadcasted. And, as a privileged student getting to be at a university, I wanted to learn more about it, and I had resources and access to it. But when I would talk to communities just outside of Swarthmore, out in Chester and Philly, the common narrative was that sustainability revolution wasn't for us. It's something for a privileged group of people. But through Revolve, and the resources I got to be a part of, and then getting to combine it with my work with the Good Energy Collaborative, which was more of a grassroots focus, community power building work, I got to be part of changing that narrative. I got to talk to community members and really break down that privileged barrier of solar energy. I have a few photos that I'd like to share with you about some of the work that we got. Could we go to the next slide? So with the Solar Ambassador Program, Revolve's main mission at the time was for us to look at solar nonprofits and places of worship, 501c3s in our area, but they also supported us in thinking about what could be the next step of engaged communities getting the sign on and that engaged component. And with RE-volv, building the Good Energy Collaborative, which combined many organizations in Chester and Philadelphia, which are grassroots organizations, thinking about how to fight injustices in their community, thinking about environmental justice, gun violence, thinking about workforce development. And it just seemed like a natural fit. With RE-volv and the resources I got to do, we got to participate in things such as the Environmental Justice March, work with young adults in the community to build actually this painting about what environmental justice and change in their community meant to them, but also building the new of what their communities looked like. Could we go to the next slide, please? I also got to be a part of building out a lot of educational programming for almost over 100 young people in both cities, where we did programming that we took students to build their own solar off-grid installs with the help of RE-volv. Also going and doing farm visits out in Chester and Philadelphia, doing community just events where they get to talk about what they want in their community. How do they get involved? Next slide, please. We would often also do, outside of just working with young people, working with the adults and community residents to do fireside chats, going and touring solar installs around the community and at either Swarthmore College or other universities in the area who were hearing about the great work that we were doing and wanted to be a part of it. So you'll see photos of us going and having our community fireside chats, looking at solar panels, looking at places that would want to get installed. So on the bottom left is a photo of our students actually doing a community assessment where they built an off-grid solar install of a farm, which you'll see in the next slide. But here they are talking to the community members and seeing where would it make sense to put a solar panel, and why it was important for this farm. The next slide. And here is us actually, with being inspired by one of the on-grid installs that RE-volv helped us do with Philly, our students were like, could we be a part of something too? And here's us kind of coming together, putting solar panels on a farm shed with the help of solar trainers, as well as some consulting from other organizations out in the area and through RE-volv and Swarthmore College. And then the last slide. And then officially when we we got to do an actual proper install of the Philly building. And this was really special because with the work that we wanted to do with RE-volv, I think our group really wanted to be clear that we wanted to work with organizations and we wanted to help them go solar who had similar missions about environmental justice, who were grounded in community first work. And RE-volv really respected that. They allowed us to take our time in finding the right partners. And we eventually got to install Philly, which is an organization that works with at-risk youth out in West Philly. And this building was one of the first buildings to ever be installed with solar power in West Philly, which is really exciting. And now almost every week we get calls from city council wanting to come and see the site, seeing how they can get solar. So this organization and the work that we got to do wasn't just small scale. It really brought in stakeholders in all capacities, made kind of the work that we were doing nationally recognized, as we had organizations reach out to us all the way from Alaska wanting to get involved in this work. And I think why I really stuck around with the Solar Ambassador program was at a time and as a young person where I don't feel like I have power over what's happening in my environment. This was a chance where I got to see change being made, and I saw that local transformation meant a lot. Through the work that we did, we had some of our young people wanting to actually sign up to become solar installers, and we've gotten about 8 students trained in getting certificates in solar install. We were able to talk about and resource share for homeowners to go solar, and spread that information, do educational programming on environmental justice. And so in the long run, I feel like I was able to actually make change and not feel powerless, which I'm so grateful for. And now being a solar ambassador, I'm really excited that I got to be a part of this local effort and now want to take it to a national and international level of how can we take small scale change and really transform our environment and fight back. And without RE-volv, I don't think I would have pursued my master's. And so I'm really excited. So thank you all so much for letting me share about my work.
Thank you, Ariza. That's an incredible, incredible experience. Thank you so much for sharing just everything that you've learned, everything that you've acted on, and also the collaborative efforts that you took as well with your partners and with Good Energy Collaborative, and the Solar Ag Lab. There's a lot more that Ariza can share. And I'm just so excited to see where she's going to take her career next, what impacts you're going to make with your team and with your friends. That's part of the reason why I get so excited about this work is that Ariza is just one example of many, and I know that she's just going to continue on that same spark and that same inspiration to so many other folks in her community and the next generation as well, right? So it's really a ripple effect that we hope to achieve, and so I'm just really grateful for her sharing that experience with us today. And so I'm excited to now dive into the next phase of the Solar Ambassador program. And so I'm happy to go into the actual content of what this program will look like starting on September 8th. Next slide, please. And I also want to just give a quick shout out to Mallory, our team member, our office manager, and wizard at the office who's also able to help us today with the slides. So thank you, Mallory, for that. So the Solar Ambassador Program, it's a 14-week manageable commitment per cohort. And why choose the word manageable? Um, I I just wanted to acknowledge that sometimes we don't know what college students also have going on in their lives. We don't know how many units they have. We don't know if they have part-time jobs. We also don't know if they may be parents or may be caretakers. And so we want to make this program as approachable and as accessible to all types of students that might have other competing priorities, but still want to have that interest and that resource and that community that they can tap into whenever they want to explore their options for clean energy and sustainability careers. So our approach is a hybrid approach. It's a self-paced weekly video uh, drop that happens on a platform that we're going to go into in a couple more slides. And essentially, it's going to be a collection of videos that are going to go over the technical understanding, a comprehensive, holistic understanding of solar energy and renewable energy systems, as well as the background on how do we finance these projects, what are the design aspects of these projects, and what does it take? Who are the stakeholders that are involved in the installation and the development of these renewable energy projects? We will also have community engagement videos as well. So not just the hard technical aspects of solar and renewable energy, but also what does it mean to reach out to your local community organizations? What does it mean to reach out to public agencies and local representatives, as Ariza just showed us just a few minutes ago? We will also have live guest lectures similar to this webinar setting, but a little bit more open, and students will be able to see and interact with other students across the country while also listening to the guest speaker who will go over a few different topics like energy and climate policy, climate storytelling, environmental justice, and the future of climate tech as well, just to name a few topics. So we will also, in these collection of weekly videos, have diverse perspectives, what I call highlights and cameos of our friends and our partners who are able to give their unique perspective on what they think of when they think about the clean energy transition in their respective fields. So we really wanted to branch out and see what the perspectives are from folks who work in housing, from folks who work in transportation, from folks who work in journalism and other fields that might not immediately come to mind when you think of sustainability. But when we talk about climate change and when we talk about how this affects us all on a global scale, we are going to want to pick up what those perspectives are from teachers and folks who work in outside of our respective energy industry bubbles at times, right? So it'll be good to get their perspective on what they think of clean energy as well. Next slide. So we will also hold weekly office hours across US time zones, so everything from east to central to west. And this is going to be an opportunity for the students to come on to the office hours and get some resume help, get some interview prep, tips on networking, which I know is something that students tend to ask me quite often is, what are some tips on networking? How can I feel more confident when I'm approaching people that I'm meeting for the first time and building those relationships and networks? We will also the one deliverable of this program, which is really the tie for the entire Solar Ambassador Fellowship program that we know, is that it's going to be one deliverable, which is called the Solar Energy Education Discussion, also known as a seed event. So we are planting seeds in our local communities and neighborhoods. And what this seed event is going to look like, hopefully, is that each student and college team will plan to host one community-focused and community-centered climate event where they will invite local organizations, nonprofits, public agencies, and their peers in their campuses or community leaders that they wish to get involved into a discussion with around clean energy transitions, and really taking the time to listen to each other and to work together to start building those networks and building those coalitions of local climate action. And a lot of this seed preparation and the how-tos of how to organize an event will be talked about during those videos in our weekly drops. So the community engagement videos will be geared towards hosting your own seed event. And we also will offer a stipend of up to $300 to help with food, with marketing related materials, activities, activity-related materials, and anything else that the students might need to host a successful event. Next slide. So going back to that weekly video content, 50% will be technical understanding, 50% will be community engagement. And within those videos that are dropped within the 14-week program, the program participants will learn about the solar energy essentials from function to design build, and hearing from our staff members here as well, who've done a phenomenal job at being able to have these projects right across 18 different states. They will also connect with peers across the US and with clean energy leaders. So they will also have a safe virtual environment or virtual platform to be able to engage with each other, ask questions, maybe collaborate as well, as we know that this next generation is very savvy when it comes to organizing online. And they will also get a chance to meet clean energy leaders. So not only our guest speakers, but also the folks who are doing cameos in our educational videos, as well as using myself and other folks as resources to connect to other clean energy leaders. So as Andreas pointed out earlier, the solar industry is continuing to grow in terms of the careers, even though we have had a few setbacks policy-wise with this current administration. We at RE-volv are just feel fully confident that this is going to continue to grow, especially as demands for energy increase with AI and with other data center systems that are going to be needed. So we do anticipate that this industry is going to continue to grow. So being able to know somebody who's already in the industry is a great way to get your foot in the door. And so we want to help be an additional resource to what your colleges and universities already offer. And so that goes into the third point of just growing in confidence to build their own career networks. Next slide. So about the platform, where are we going to host this? So RE-volv has used a platform called Thinkific. You will see below on this slide, revolve.thinkific.com. This is the current curriculum that we have online right now, but we will be launching our updated digital platform on Monday, September 8th. So we will go into a different version of this same platform, but with the updated videos and resources. Next slide. So once a student enrolls in the program, they will be able to track their own progress and view the weekly material that is dropped on a weekly basis. The portal will have additional clean energy resources to it. The students will be able to submit any assignments if there are any, which is going to be a light load, but we will be checking in just to see if the students need additional help or just tracking the progress of how the students are doing in the program so we can offer support in any way, shape, or form. And so this is typically what it looks like when you are in the actual platform. So you will see it has a progress measurements to see how much percentage of the program is still left, how much you've already completed, as well as the drop on the left right there, you'll see the Welcome to the Solar Ambassador Bootcamp. That is where the videos and the resources will be available for the students. So you're welcome to view this on your own time. The website is below. And we will be sending a copy of this presentation to you as well, which will also have hyperlinks and interest forms. And I also want to note that if any questions come up during this presentation, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we will get to them during the Q&A portion, which is coming up soon. Next slide. So the Thinkific portal will be where the program participants are able to, again, submit assignments, view the video lessons, watch the past recordings as well, engage with each other safely, share climate stories with each other, highlight their seed events as well, maybe some ideas, and then collaborate and brainstorm and ask questions to the RE-volv team, to the collective coaches that we will have on our network, and to each other as well. And one thing I want to emphasize here is that in this digital age, safety is a huge importance for us. So I am making sure to talk with folks in my networks to see how we can keep this virtual platform accessible and inclusive to everybody, but also safe as well. We want to make sure that students feel that they are able to ask their questions, bring their whole self to this program, and be able to engage with each other and generate new ideas and garner new conversations that lead to different perspectives or expanded perspectives. And so I'm very excited to see what this next phase will look like for the Solar Ambassador virtual platform on Thinkific. Next slide. So at the end of the program, every Solar Ambassador that has completed the course requirements will receive a certificate of completion and employment support as well, including a letter of recommendation if it is requested. So we want to make sure that once the students have gone through the 14 weeks of learning about the technical aspects of solar and renewable energy, as well as the community engagement aspects, which are both lifelong skills, in my opinion, because it's going to be great to learn not just from myself, but from the team and from our external partners and friends on what they think of would make a successful community event. So I think that that warrants being able to celebrate your completion of this program. And so that is why we will be giving a certificate of completion and employment support as well. Next slide. So just to tie it all together, the Solar Ambassador Program, to Andreas's point with the three pillars, invest and empower and educate, we are empowering students and energizing communities, or we are hoping to empower students and energize communities. This is a free program that is open to all, and our intention is to expand access to clean energy careers for students who identify as first generation, low income, and/or Black, Indigenous, Latinx, people of color. This is because we believe that a clean energy transition and economy should work for every community, regardless of your zip code. And I feel very strongly about this myself, just having also grown up down the street from a power plant, having been a first generation student, and also that I identify as a Latina as well, with Mexican and Salvadoran indigenous roots. This was really important for me when I was coming into the clean energy industry, was I was trying to find my footing. I, was trying to find where can I find people that want to, like Ariza, right, give back to their communities that helped us grow up, right? And so I think that is one thing that I want to emphasize on this is we want to make sure that in the clean energy transition, those who are designing, those who are building, and those who are envisioning that clean energy future, that table can be as diverse as it possibly can be, so that we don't replicate the same systems of exclusivity as we've seen in the past, right? We want to make sure that all communities, regardless of their socioeconomic status, have access to clean energy, healthy communities, and thriving environments. Next slide. So our ask. So we are seeking a partnership with community colleges and universities to establish new Solar Ambassador chapters across the country. And we're seeking your support with two things. The third is optional, but the first is a committed faculty advisor or advisors for 4 months, roughly those 14 weeks. This would be a low ask as well. It would just be a point of contact that if I'm not able to respond to the students on your campus right away, that they are able to then use a secondary person. At this point, it would be either a faculty or staff advisor that they can go to on their campus and ask those questions or get those needs met, and then be able to check in with the faculty member, and they can, and vice versa, right? They can let me know, hey, I had some students ask questions about this, or they could let me know what the students need, as well as any suggestions or ideas that they might have to improve the program on their campus and university. So really, it would be a partnership that we would work together. But this would be a low ask. I also understand that a lot of educators have a lot of things going on, and they are responsible for multiple students for long periods of time. So this is not going to be something that we're asking you to take on that would be a burden to you, but more so as something that you can that a faculty member can volunteer some time to help make this program that much more successful. And the second ask is the amplification of the program through your school's network. So Handshake is great and it's wonderful, but I am also a little bit of an old-fashioned millennial that I loved walking around my college campus at Cal Berkeley and being able to see what the students were up to in terms of like clubs and events in my local department's news and announcements boards. So if there are any newsletters, if there are any boards, if there are other forms of communication aside from Handshake, which is great again, but outside of that, if there are other ways to communicate with your student population, this is where we would ask for the amplification of the program, and we would be able to provide you with the flyers and the marketing materials, as well as anything else that you might need to announce and amplify this program. An optional third unit is to have this unit be part of your college and university curriculum, making it by a half or a one full unit credit. I know that every college and university also has their own standards and procedures to make this happen. So again, this is optional, but if this is something that you're interested in exploring, please do contact us and we will start the process with you. But that said, going into the next slide. Oh, I see here. We actually have additional photos of our Solar Ambassador team. I believe the top left is Santa Barbara. So UC Santa Barbara is represented here. Below them is University of Southern California, also known as USC. And the final picture is our team in Coastal Carolinas from a few years ago as well. So just wanting to highlight the Solar Ambassador teams that we've had part of this program. Next slide. That leads us to the questions portion of this. I want to thank you again for just hearing our, about more about the Solar Ambassador program. Thank you to Andreas for telling us more about RE-volv and its background as well, and to Ariza as well for sharing your experience. So I want to open up the floor now to any questions that might be on anyone's mind. And I do see one here in the chat. So what level of involvement would you need from my staff and faculty to run this program successfully? So the level of involvement is pretty minimal, I would say. Again, the faculty advisor or the staff member who would identify as the Solar Ambassador liaison, the ask is really just to be a point of contact for the students. It could be as minimal as just having your inbox open for any questions related to the Solar Ambassadors, and then being able to forward those questions and asks over to our team, to myself, or to the ambassador@revolve.com email. So it would be a low ask. It would be more of like just a check-in to see how the engagement is going so far, if they've been able to hear how the students' progress has been. Of course, this will be under my purview, excuse me, under my purview and my responsibility. So I will be doing regular check-ins with the students. But again, this is more so for the longevity of the program. If they choose to volunteer for the spring cohort as well. And, as Andreas pointed out earlier, we have had some student teams go on to be multi-year teams. So just want to emphasize that having a point of contact as a faculty or staff advisor is key to that longevity. Andreas, I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add to.
Yeah, just no, thanks, Ingrid. That's great. I think for faculty, as you know, students are often going to benefit from just having someone there that they can touch base with on a regular basis. So, being, as Ingrid said, sort of just being there to support your students, answer any questions. And I think one of the main things is really having an understanding of the community. So if your students are, they've only been in this area for a year or two, when they're starting this, you as a faculty member might have a much better understanding of the nonprofits in the area, local leaders, opportunities to get the word out about events. So, you might be very helpful to them in terms of setting up their event and getting the word out to potential nonprofits in the area. Perhaps you or other faculty members know about it. And then also, as Ingrid mentioned, each year or each semester when we're recruiting new students, it's something that as a faculty member, if you're there for many years, you'll be able to know, kind of where the best place to advertise that is to the students, and also to, if you see students that are expressing an interest in this space, perhaps help recruit them for the next semester.
Thanks, Andreas. I do see another question here. How can we integrate your program with our existing career services and employer partnerships? This is a really great question. So I want to emphasize again that we are not in any way, shape, or form intending to replace the services that you already provide in your career services and your employment services department. What we hope to be is an additional resource and an enhancement to the services that you already provide. So how we can integrate like the Solar Ambassador program with the existing career services and employer partnerships is that we would partner with your career services staff or employer recruiters, and then we would work together to say like, hey, these are the things that we're offering. This is the program. These are some of the benefits that we believe that students will gain through the program. How does this align with the current things that you have available or the current offerings that you have available for your students that are interested in clean energy and sustainability? And if there are some officers that are already designated for clean energy and sustainability careers, at that point, we would host a call together and see what are the offerings that we have that can overlap with RE-volv's offerings as well, and see what are the gaps that we can fill as part of the Solar Ambassador program to create just more opportunities and more resources for your students. So really, it's about trying to meet each other where we are at and trying to see where can we fill in those gaps, where can we be additional support to provide your students with more options in this growing field. So it's really about understanding what are the current services that you have available and where can we meet you to fill those gaps. And if there aren't programs that have yet to be established specifically for clean energy and sustainability, then that is where we're happy to fill in that gap for you and connect students to the clean energy leaders that could potentially lead to internships, volunteer opportunities, and maybe even future employment opportunities as well. Awesome. So I'm not sure if there are any more questions. There's one more here. How do you evaluate the success of the program? Can you share data from previous partnerships? Certainly. So how do we evaluate the success of the program? That's a good one. I think that's one that we're actively working on trying to figure out what those metrics of success will look like at the end of this program. Personally, I think that some of those successful metrics will be that the students have completed the course requirements. So those course requirements are to view those videos, which will be somewhere between 10 to 15 minutes long. So it is quite a short video to watch. But again, there could be a multitude of videos that are also additional to those educational videos through RE-volv. So one requirement is the weekly videos. The second requirement is that we ask that you are able to attend at least 2 of the live guest lecture series. The reason for that being is that this will be an opportunity for the students to ask their questions to the guest speaker right then and there. So it's a great way to be able to, get your questions answered, get your name out there as well, and maybe establish a new relationship, professional relationship with the guest speaker as well. And the third and final requirement is that we ask that you host a seed event. And this is the biggest ask for us and I think the largest requirement of the 3. And this is because we want to make sure that students are feeling supported when they start to intentionally invite nonprofit organizations, public agencies, local representatives to this community-centered focus event. And it doesn't have to be this large event that is going to come together and there's going to be 500 people there. It could be as small as 10 people getting together in a lab room and sharing some pizza and talking about what the clean energy future looks like for them. It's something that is just meant to bring us closer together and find what are our commonalities, because we do have more things that we have in common than the things that divide us, regardless of the rhetoric that is going on right now that is trying to be divisive and trying to say that, the future can only look a certain type of way. And we know that with colleges and universities, they are institutions of learning. They are institutions where we can imagine systems being designed differently. And so this seed event is just one example of that, where we really are encouraging our young folks and those also who are participate or who are interested in participating in the Solar Ambassador Program to have tangible ways of how they can get involved with their community. Andreas, I don't know if you have any additional points, and I know that there are some events that have been hosted by past solar ambassadors. So anything else to add to that?
No, just that, yeah, you said it well. And I think, what we find is that when, one of the things that can really help people understand clean energy better is just to get together in a room with people from their community and talk about it. And, that's what this is really ultimately about, is giving the Solar Ambassador Fellows the tools and the structure of how to talk about clean energy, how to answer frequently asked questions, and then giving them support and structure to host one of these events in the community. And when you get nonprofit leaders and community members to come together in a room, like Ingrid said, bring some pizza, that tends to melt a lot of the divisiveness away right there. And, that gives people an opportunity just to meet with each other face to face and talk, and you'll be amazed at where the conversation goes. A lot of people know a lot about clean energy, and they just don't have that many opportunities to get together and talk about it. So that's ultimately our goal here: is how many teams can we sort of train to host these awesome events? And then hopefully, as a result of that, you're getting nonprofits from that community who see the benefit and who got some questions answered to say, okay, I'm ready to go solar now too. Let's get a project done. Let's get a big story in the news. Let's make a video, and then the cycle continues. So, and it's also, as Ariza mentioned earlier, that sense of giving students the ability to do something, right? And, sort of moving past a feeling of powerlessness to say, we can solve the climate crisis, and it's by doing these real actions in our community. And in this case, it's hosting an education discussion and allowing people to come together and learn together. So we're excited to partner with all of you, get the fellowship started here in September, and of course, meet all of the faculty members, all the students, and kick off for another year of awesome solar education discussions at the local level.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing I just want to add to that, because this came to mind as Andreas, as you were talking about just being engaged with your local community, is that we are also based in San Francisco, but these students, like, y'all know your communities better than we would, right? And so you will know the needs of, like, what does it take to be a resilient campus or a resilient nonprofit to serve our community, right? Especially when it comes to climate change and it's highlighting the differences in our needs of whether it's like a flood-prone area or hurricane-prone area or wildfire-prone area. What do we need to keep in mind to prepare in the event that we do have an extreme weather event occur? So I think the students, especially young folks, are very much like having that top of mind and having those questions in their head of like, how do we prepare in case this does happen? And so I think being able to hold a space to discuss like what does our local community need? Like what y'all know each other best, y'all will know your needs best. And so again, to Andreas's point, being able to kind of break some bread together, share some discussions together is one way to start, right? And so, so yeah, just wanted to add that point too. And let's see here, we're coming down to the last 7 minutes. I think we have one more question. Which student populations is this program best suited for? Year, major, or career interests? So honestly, this program is open to any student that is interested to learn more about the intersections of climate change, clean energy, sustainability, and how that ties into social, racial, climate, environmental, and economic justice as well. So that could be anyone from a journalism student to a math student to a biology student. It could go beyond STEM or STEAM if you want to include the arts in there, which should absolutely be included. But anyone who is interested to find out more of what this growing industry can look like, again, I want to emphasize that we will have diverse points of view on the clean energy transition. So if someone wants to be a teacher, but they want to incorporate clean energy lessons or climate change solutions in their future curriculums, great. Then we will have someone who's in the educational realm who works with elementary school students to high school students be able to give us their unique point of view on how they have implemented climate and clean energy into their curriculum. So again, this is open to all students and of all years. So everyone from freshmen to seniors. And this is because we want, and grad students as well, because we want to make this program as approachable and as accessible as we can. We're also trying to start this conversation as well virtually, but we're hoping that the students can take it offline and take it into their communities in real life. So with that said, if we want to get involved, what should we do next? So I'm not sure if Mallory, if you're still able to put the slides up. For the next steps, we would love to hear from you. So I will have my contact here for you. You can reach out to me at ingrid@revolve.org. Again, this presentation will be shared with you, both the recording and the slides, so you will have access to these useful links. And Mallory, if you don't mind going to one more slide, and that is the important dates. So I just also want to highlight some important dates that are coming up as well. So feel free to contact me, especially regarding any of these dates that are coming up. So on September 8th, the portal will open on Thinkific. Friday, September 12th will be our first live session. So this will be the orientation and welcome session. And it'll be hosted at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And this is because we've found 10 a.m. to be the most accessible time across the time zones. And then starting on September 16th, that is when we will open our office hours on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And our first guest lecture will be held on September 22nd, along with Seed Week that you see there later on in November. And then the program will formally close on December 12th. So just a couple dates to keep in mind. Again, this will be sent over to you, so you will have this available to you in your inbox. So with that said, thank you, Mallory. We could take the slides down now. I just want to thank you for your time with us, wherever you may be, in whichever time zone you are in. I just want to thank you for being with us today and for hearing more about the Solar Ambassador program. something that I know that Andreas and myself and the team are very passionate about. And so I want to pass it over to Andreas and see if you have any final final thoughts or anything else.
Just yeah, thanks. Well, thanks Ingrid for doing a great job walking everyone through the program, and thanks everybody for joining. And yeah, this is just an important time in the clean energy transition for us to engage people at the local level as much as possible and to give opportunities to college students so that they understand that there's this burgeoning career waiting for them, this growing industry. So we're excited to dive into this with you and hopefully have many successful teams and events to celebrate by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Climate change is asking us to think globally and act locally, right? So this is our contribution, our hopes that this can not be an end-all be-all solution, but can be a start. And that way we can continue to really take care of our planet, our communities, and ourselves. And so with that, I will go ahead and give you back your 2 minutes or your 1 minute. And thank you again for being with us. And we hope to hear from you soon. Take care, everyone.